and cable harnesses. However, in 2020, they realized that there is a very big opportunity lying into the propulsion business related to railway per se initially, and they started to work on the R&D. So the last 6-year journey of the company, they have stabilized their production and their sales at the particular level and used the revenues and the profit generated from there to invest into the R&D activities. This R&D has ultimately culminated into the product approval in September 2025, and thereafter the company started the commercial supply to railway in March 2026. The order for this particular business is around 920 crore. Further, there are developmental orders for around 80 to 90 crore, putting the total order book at roughly 8,000 crore. And this is the start of the transformation of the journey from a 50 crore top line company to a rail propulsion electronic supplier, and also move into other power electronic businesses. Recently, the company also received order for 6 memo trains, which we generally say as local trains. So they have received order for 6 trains wherein they have to supply propulsion for the entire train, and the value of each supply for the train is roughly 14 and a half crore. So this marks the transformation of the journey of the company into the next phase of propulsion business. Now let me introduce you to the management of the company. To my left is Mr. Mohit Vora. He is the manager, he is the promoter, founder, director of the company. He has been incorporated the company in 2009 and has a total experience of around 25 to 30 years. Then to his further left is Mr. Pankaj Rastogi. He is the managing director for the company with the experience of more than 32 years in hardcore engineering and product development onto railway side completely. Further, we have Mr. Ajay, who is the CFO of the company. So this now I will request the team to play the audio video, which will contain a brief profile of the company.
And lot of gratitude. Thank you very much for your presence. Let me take you to a brief journey of the company MV Electrosystems, so that it helps you to understand better and ask more relevant questions, more specific questions related to IPO in case they are. So as you have already seen that MV Electrosystems happens to be an emerging railway technology company, one of the India's emerging railway technology company, which is primarily focused on rail power electronics or rail propulsion systems, advanced rail propulsion systems, traction electronics, auxiliary power systems, and wide variety of electrical systems. Can I use this mic? So this journey started about 15 years ago, 1.5 decade, 15 years ago. We started with a small product line called Cable Protection and Management Products. Is it working? We started with a small, can you hear me? Am I audible? Yes. So we started with a small product line called Cable Protection and Management Products. You can see there, here. So if you see the train, coaches, EMUs, metros, lot of cables that run inside the coaches, outside the coaches, under the roof. So all these cables needs to be protected. They are protected by the plastic tubes. The tubes has to be obviously fire and smoke safer, very, very light, flexible. And along with these tubes, you require many other kinds of fittings and connectors. There are about 160 kinds of fittings. So we saw this opportunity in the firm because this particular product line was being imported by Indian Railways for several years. And there were series of expression of interest, but there was no success in indigenization. So we took this challenge. We requested RDSO, which is the Research and Development Wing of Railways, that we want to attend this. And we started, and over a period of 6 months tentatively, we developed it. And another 6 months we got done. So the business started. We started doing very good growth on revenues, business side, profitability side. And thereby we started diversifying into other areas, other products, like you can see here, complete wiring harness, complete cable assemblies for the trains. Then further switchboards, cabinets. These are switchgear and electrical panels. These are called switchboard cabinets that regulates the electrical devices installed inside the coaches, like air conditioners, lights, chargers, etc. So we went through this journey for about 6-7 years. Then obviously every product has a life, you can say a product life cycle. And then it started becoming little conventional because more players learned about this and they started getting into it. And that was the time when we decided that whether we should diversify to other markets, whether we should diversify to other regions. So by that time we had learned a lot about railways, all the domains. We learned about signaling, how does signaling works and how it evolved right from mechanical signaling to electrical signaling to electronic signaling to automatic rail protection systems. We learned about rail electrification, the major equipments, the key equipments that are involved. We learned about the track design, civil structures, that how it is affected by speed of the trains and locomotives. We learned about rolling stock design and manufacture, that how it is manufactured for a low-speed vehicle to a high-speed train and how that gets affected, how the equipment get affected. So while we passed through this journey, we learned one very important lesson, that railway is a very dependable business, very ambitious business, long-term business. And there were 2-3 reasons behind it. One, when we talk about railways, we know that railways is going to stay for many decades because any logistic movement, whether it is coal, it is steels, and nowadays we can see a lot of cars getting transported. You will very soon see most of the cars will start getting transported through the trains. So if they get transported from the trains, then you need locomotives, and that is why we have dedicated freight corridors, and we are coming more and more corridors across India. So you will see huge surge in locomotives and wagons in the next few years of the decade. Similarly, our cities are getting denser and denser, and if they are getting denser, you need more metro trains or you need more EMU trains. Sizes of the cities are getting bigger, so one city is getting closer to the other, you need more EMUs. And I think that our company believes that there is going to be a substantial requirement of EMUs in next 1 year, 1 decade, 1.5 decade or so. So very dependable business. On the other side, I said it is an ambitious business because this business is not saturated. Certain business comes under saturation. You talk about molding business, you talk about extrusion business, many businesses. This business is not saturated, it gets regularly transformed into advanced level. You talk about locomotives, started with steam engines, we entered into diesel locomotives, entered into electrical locomotives, that too with rectifier, GTO-based, rectifier, diode-based locomotives, then we migrated to GTO-based locomotives, we migrated to IGBT locomotive, we're talking about silicon carbide-based locomotive. So technology is getting advanced. We were talking about 80 to 100 kilometers speed per hour trains. We are now talking about 130, 140 kilometers per hour regular trains running. We have entered into an era of Vande Bharat that can touch 200 kilometers per hour, and we'll be slowly migrating towards magnetic train, bullet trains. That is the future. I think next 2 decades or so, we will see a huge amount of bullet trains also getting inducted into the system. So once you have these kind of technology migrations, so those businesses are generally very prospective. They are generally very profitable also. But when you, and the third and the most important point which I missed, that Indian Railways, their approach is very collaborative. Whenever you have these core technologies like propulsion and several others, they handhold the suppliers, because now and then there are changes in priorities, there are changing in requirements, changing in train speed, train densities, etc. So accordingly, the new products has to be developed or designed or upgraded. So they handhold the older suppliers. They take them to the next level. So important is to work continuously, invest continuously, so that you can stay as long as you want, you can grow as much as you want with railways. Very dependable. I think probably the same approach may be there globally, because China also I see the same kind of collaborative approach between industry and railways. I see Japanese also tentatively the same way work. I see Europe, entire European Union, they work in collaboration. They also work like that. They work in collaboration with the suppliers and handhold them to go to the next level. So we found this business very dependable and ambitious, and we decided that let us not diversify into other areas. We have learned a lot in this railway sector. So let us leverage those. So, but if you want to be a core player of railways, or integral part of railways, I should say, then you need to have some core technology or some important technology that is regularly required by railways. So we brainstormed, we worked a lot on it, and finally, what could be the best contender than propulsion system, which is the heart and also the brain of the train. So what is propulsion system? Generally a system in a locomotive or a train which takes electricity from 25,000 volt running over overhead electrical wires, take it and supply the stabilized power. Stabilized because a safety critical product. Any fluctuation in voltage can result in an accident. It supplies a very stabilized power and the desired voltage to the motors of the trains or motors of the locomotives so that it runs properly. And then it also supplies power to the various other electrical and electronic devices in the locomotive or a train. So that is another function of this. So while it is supplying power, is it not supplying some kind of blood to a human body so that it functions? So that is why we said it pumps like a heart of a train. And all the devices in the train or a locomotive speak with each other continuously. And it happens through this medium of propulsion system. So that is why we said it's a mind or a brain function also. So we decided to develop the system. So very first thing is to take the building. So we take to the building and we said that we will build an R&D team. And that time we realized that it is an electrical product, very specific. It is called power electronics. So let us not go very deep into it. So we need a power electronics team. So we brought a leader. I mean, we joined hands with Dr. Pankaj Rastogi sitting in front of us. About 30 years of experience in railways, completely into power electronics, and he was the best contender that we found. So when he came, he formed the teams. We saw that we need to do an electrical or power electronic design or hardware design of the system. While doing so, we realized that it is equally intricate mechanical engineering because so big power operators, 2.3 megawatt per converter and 2 converter per locomotive, 6,000 horsepower, that much of power has to be condensed into one metal envelope. So very intricate mechanical engineering was required. Shocks, vibrations, temperature, compactness. Third important area, because so condensed electrical and so high power electrical and electronics is there, lot of heat gets involved. So heat has to be dissipated. So we require very good thermodynamics team or physics team in general. We require software development team. We require embedded design team or we could say electronics hardware design team. You require control and instrumentation team. So 6-7 teams of this kinds were required. And we had a very good leader. He formed all those teams. And his co-partner, Mr. Sanjay Man, who is not here today, is an expert in software development. Again, about 30 years of experience, completely into railways. We cannot have general or simple, software developers or mechanical design because all these developments in different streams has to be done using the methodologies of railways. So that prior experience of railways is very much desired in all this. So we took this challenge. It took us something like 3 to 4 years to develop the propulsion system, and then it was offered for approval to Indian Railways. So then they tested this system one by one, then combined testing happened. We supplied the system to Chittaranjan Locomotive Works, their factory. It was installed inside the locomotive, then the locomotive, all the features were tested. It was ran for several months inside the factory. Then it was again sent to the locomotive shed where it ran for 50,000 kilometers along with the train. So in the first time itself, everything went flawless. No problem happened. And then there were other series of tests like adhesion testing, slip testing, put an artificial rain on the track, see whether it slips or slides. If it slides and slips, then how does it behave? All those things, electronic magnetic interference, EMI, EMC testing, all these testings happen. So generally about 2 years of approval process, it happened September 2025, last year. So we got our approval and our name got registered with very selected, very few suppliers globally, which is driving the entire railway fraternity globally among them. So it was a very prestigious moment for us that day. So immediately after that we saw, because we were an approved supplier, and there were regular tenders that keep coming from railways. The first tender came from a company called Chittaranjan Locomotive Works. It manufactures locomotives. So we won some business from that tender. Another tender came subsequently from Banaras Locomotive Works. We won that tender. Another tender came from a company called Patiala Locomotive Works. So we won a part of that tender. So collectively, our order book stands at 920 crore. I'm not including GST, I'm not including any annual maintenance contract inside it. And then further fourth tender came. This was for EMU or memo trains. And memo trains, we got another order of 107 crores. So that got added into our order book. So currently we stand at an order book of 1,000 plus crore rupees. A small 50-60 crore company bagged an order of 1,000 crore, and it will be recurring orders. Every year there is the same requirements. If you see 1951, the manufacturing tentatively started. From that time you can see the consistent increase in requirement of locomotives of Indian Railways. Until now it is happening. 2026 we are. And that is how we can foresee next 1, 2, 3 decades of requirement, how it's going to be. Very stable business. So when we were about to get approval, we saw the approval coming. We saw that all these orders will also come. So important was to get ready for production, for the supply. So immediately the factory was revamped. We installed assembly line, our own electronic manufacturing line. You can see here. We increased the manpower. We started the training towards production and testing. We bought other assembly facilities, test beds which were required. We saw that our existing facility can do only 20 propulsion systems per month. We have to scale it up to at least 50 propulsion systems. So exactly same factory which you see here now. So same factory was replicated. So very close to that in the vicinity, we built a second factory. So out of it, both of them combined together, we scaled up the capacity to about 50 loco propulsion systems per month. So let us see the bird eye view of this company now. A company developed a propulsion system. It got approved. We have approval in hand. We commercialized it. We already started the production of this propulsion system, and 2 batches of these propulsion systems are already supplied to Chittaranjan Locomotive Works for Indian Railways. We have received the payments, so production has already started. We have the facility to do 50 propulsion systems per month. So entire capex, almost all the capex is already done. all the manpower is already available to scale up to that level. So what was required is only working capital, so that we have that purchasability to buy so much quantum and can supply these much propulsion systems monthly basis. So that was the reason we decided to come up with the IPO. And if you see our IPO closely, you can see about 290 crore total proceeds. A major portion, 180 crores out of that, is required just for working capital, is kept just for working capital. But now parallelly, our dedicated R&D center is built, and we have a lot to do. As I mentioned that we have already bagged an order for EMU or MAMU propulsion system, EMU train propulsion systems. So our second target, our second development will be MEMO or EMU propulsion system. So that R&D has already started, and we have kept one proceed of about 21 crores out of this IPO for new product development. With this, we are hoping to develop this new technology of EMU or MEMO propulsion systems. So while doing so, I mean, there will be subsequent products like Vande Bharat propulsion system or metro propulsion system using the same technology. What I mean to say is the ecosystem is already got developed. We have manpower which is trained, we have simulators, we have tools, we have test beds. So the development cycle will be much lower in the subsequent products. So once again, a small company with very ambitious order book, which will be a recurring order book, and we are hoping to see many more products in the pipeline. And with these capabilities, I think not only railways, I know immediate next 2, 3, 4 years, we will be very busy in scaling up only railways business. But after that, we will definitely be looking forward towards other industries, where that includes a power transmission, that includes marine industry for our propulsion systems and converter systems for our products. I hope I was clear, and thank you very much.